What up? What up? What's good? Sorry about the last one. I had to cut it short because I got a phone call and I had to take the phone call. But let's continue back. We're on chapter 4, Kim Porter's book, read by Movie Clip on TikTok, y'all. So let me make this bigger. And let's get in. This book sounds really juicy.
I just didn't want it messing up my relationship. And if things became awkward, how would it affect Quincy? So I asked, "Are you both sure?" I imagined both of them inside me. I knew this would be awkward sexually. There would be some bumping of genitals. But what happened next? I couldn't have imagined in my wildest dreams. Al, redacted, 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 redacted. I couldn't believe it. I stood there in shock. But when Sean, redacted, 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 I ran out of the room. This was too much. I couldn't. Sean called out to me, "Oh, come on, Kimmy." They didn't chase after me. They redacted, redacted, redacted. I couldn't get the image out of my mind. I couldn't be with Sean for a while. But that wouldn't be the last time I saw Sean in a compromising position. Not by a long shot. One day I found the vault where he kept all of his encounters with men. Yes, he kept a record of it. What? But that's for later. Chapter 4, Forgiveness. Sean arrived with flowers in hand. He wanted to see Quincy.
Play the music in the background.
He was so good with him, and Quincy ran over to hug him. I felt my heart melting. He asked Quincy, "How you doing, Tiger?" Quincy looked so innocent as he responded, "I'm good. I miss you." Sean's response sounded genuine. "I miss you too. We'll hang out tomorrow, okay?" "Okay." Sean gave him a little love tap on the butt. "It's bedtime." Quincy replied, "Okay, good night."
Wait, I saw this.
As he turned.
I saw that part already. Let me turn my phone. I keep getting interrupted.
Spamming about it in the comments.
Were we on 6? 6.
Going to be the last chapter for today because this one's kind of long.
Did she read 5? Which one's this one?
So I've seen this book circulating around TikTok, and it's on Amazon right now. It's like $22. It's literally. So I've seen this book circulating around TikTok, and it's on Amazon right now. It's like $22. It's literally 59 pages. It's less than an hour to read. But by the time you get to page 5, which is page 2 of the book, it's just, it's a lot. I'm normally a commenter, not a poster, but should I do a series on this? Because this is...
I want to hear chapter 5.
It took me an hour to read it and then another hour to collect my thoughts. Has anyone else read this?
I don't know if she did chapter 5, but we'll go to 6.
It's going to be the last chapter for today because this one's kind of long, as are the next couple chapters, but let's get into it. Chapter 6, Pac. Biggie took over East Coast hip-hop, and Sean was the brilliant mind that orchestrated it. He hired people to teach Chris how to flow and write his lyrics. He hired the best producers to do the beats, although he took credit for them. And the music was unstoppable. At this point, Sean was sleeping with all the power players, and everyone that wanted to do music wanted to be a bad boy. Sean wheeled and dealed in a way that would have been unthinkable to many. He slept with the guys that really controlled the music to stay on top. A lot of the names average people have never heard of. These are the guys that make the decisions on who's winning and who's not. He hosted parties that were just a fancy name for orgies, and everyone wanted in. When I met Tupac, Sean and I had an open relationship, and yes, I slept with Pac. Shit, he was sexy. Sean didn't mind. Well, not until he tried to get Pac to join both of us. Pac was not good with that. This is where the relationship between them became strained. Pac wasn't going to accept Sean's advances. Pac wasn't gay, and he was pissed about the advances. We were all in Sean's house. I was drinking, they were smoking, and everyone was just relaxing. Sean came in on what I'm sure he would call a smooth approach. "My baby bad, isn't she?" Pac threw me a sly smile. Hell yeah, I felt myself blush. Sean was now in full swing. "You think you hit it better than me?" I couldn't believe he disrespected me that way. I was not playing with my response. "Sean, what the fuck?" Pac came to my defense. "Damn, bro, you ain't got to do the sister that way." Tupac appeared upset behind Sean's words, but Sean went in for the kill regardless. I think my dick's bigger than yours. I bet I can make her come faster than you. What's up?
Ciao.
Pac was appalled. What the fuck are you talking about? Redacted. I ain't trying to run no fucking train. Sean continued. What are you scared of? Let's see who fucks better. Let her be the judge. Yes. At this point, we'd been inviting others into our bed for a while, but I am not used to and will not stand for disrespect. I wasn't the only one upset. Pac shouted, Redacted, you talking about pulling your fucking dick out? Sean was undaunted. What, you scared? Tupac simply left. Things were contentious since then. The two could not be in the same room. Pac avoided me as much as he did Sean. When they did bump into each other, the tension was palpable. It felt like blows could be thrown at any moment. Months passed with only the tension between them. It was uncomfortable, but nothing life or death. Then one day, while we were at the studio, it happened. I walked into Sean's office and he was having the conversation. Sean sat across from Jimmy Henchman. Pac, don't leave that fucking studio alive. I don't think I was supposed to hear it. I continued as if I didn't. Hey, Sean. Good morning, Jimmy. They didn't seem to think I heard anything. I'm ordering breakfast. Smiling, Sean replied first. Let me get eggs, sunny side up, with grits and an orange juice. I could see he was hungover. Good. I don't want him knowing I know anything. If he just put a hit on Pac, knowing something could be dangerous, Jimmy, apparently not hungry, said, nothing for me. As he stood to exit the room, he said to Sean, let's make that happen. Then nodded to me and said, Kim, always a pleasure. With a wink to me and a nod to Sean, he turned and walked out. Jimmy was part of our intimate circle. I went on as if nothing was happening. I'll make the call now. I smiled as I left, hoping I wasn't white as a sheet. I wasn't in the studio the night Pac survived being shot, thank God. From what I understand, Sean and Chris saw Pac at the studio after he'd been shot and did nothing. The way God works. After being shot, Pac made it to the elevator and tried to escape, but it stopped on the floor Sean and Chris were on. When the doors opened, they saw him lying on the elevator floor, riddled with bullets. The fact that they didn't call an ambulance, although they saw Pac lying there swimming in a pool of his own blood, would be all the evidence Pac ever needed. He, of course, assumed they placed the hit, and Tupac is a soldier. This is not something that will be unanswered. Tupac didn't do well. He lost a testicle, but he survived. It was orchestrated. And Sean Puffy Combs was the orchestrator.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this is going to be the last chapter for today because...
I don't know if there's a 7, but...
for anyone who didn't get to see that video. But spitefully, we are going to go through chapter 8. And if I have to go back and re-record chapter 6 tomorrow, we will do that. So, part 6, chapter 8. Actress, model, and fashion designer Kidada Jones was Tupac Shakur's fiancée and the daughter of record producer Quincy Jones and actress Peggy Lipton. Being around other celebrities was just a part of life. Meeting Kidada was just one of those events, and as time went on, we became close. We hung out together, we went shopping, and so on. It was about the same time I met Kimura. Those were the days, or so I thought. We always had girl talk, and the fact that she was dating someone I'd previously been with wasn't a source of contention. We didn't get jealous of each other. It was just girl talk stuff. No, I did not become intimate with Kidada. Kimura was too jealous for that. Yes, Kidada knew about Kimura, Sean, and I all being together sexually. Of course she did. We shared that kind of thing. We were open and honest with each other about almost everything. A true friendship, except I couldn't be open and honest about everything. Not anymore. Sean made sure of that. Kidada and Pac were the greatest couple. He was always so cool and, yes, sexy. She was so beautiful and fun. Before all the tension and beef, we all used to hang out together. It was always dope vibes. But with Pac shooting and the suspicions around Sean and Jimmy, the vibes between Kidada and I weren't always perfect. Then came that night. Award shows weren't anything new for us at this point. We dolled up as the men groomed. We didn't choose what we wore. A stylist prepared our color palettes, a makeup artist did our makeup, and a hairstylist did our hair. This was just the way of things. We shared the best stylists in the business. Sometimes we would all go to the studio for an event to get our measurements taken, but this time, Kidada seemed different. I felt like something was wrong, but when I probed her, she wouldn't say anything. Then, the day of the event was here. We would all see each other inside. Even though Sean was my man, as far as props, I had nothing on Kidada. Being Quincy Jones's daughter had perks, and superstardom was among them. Pac wasn't there. When she saw us, she came over to our table. We sat around kicking it in a very dope vibe. Sean knew he was going to clean up at this award show. He had all but taken over the East Coast musically. With all the hits, there was really no way he wouldn't. Bad Boy's Hall of Fame stuff now, and Sean P. Diddy Combs knew it. Sean smiled at Kidada as she sat at our table, but something about that smile didn't seem authentic. Soon I would know why. He's sick when he has a grudge against someone. As she sat, Sean said, "Bad Boy's gonna clean the fuck up." From his table with Faith, Chris replied, "Hell yeah. And that new shit we bustin' out is gonna have these redacteds sick." Kidada signaled for the waiter to pour her a glass of the ginger ale that sat over at her table. As the waiter refreshed her drink, she said, "Pac's music gonna get some love too." Sean grimaced. "Oh, come on, Sean. I know y'all got your differences, but you have to admit, the man makes great music." Sean looked at me out of the corner of his eye, and then took another sip of his favorite cognac and replied, "Bad Boy got the hottest music on the fucking planet, but I ain't tripping. Everybody got to get their shine, right?"
Wow.
Kidada sighed. "Sean, Tupac thinks you were involved with him getting shot. You two were so close. You need to make this right." Sean responded indignantly, "Why the fuck would that redacted think I had anything to do with it?" Kidada retorted, "Sean, can you blame him?" Sean was obviously not happy with that question by his reply. "Hell yeah, I blame him. We had a good thing going. All of us. That redacted turned on me, and he has the fucking balls to blame me for this shooting?" The indignity he managed to spew out while lying through his teeth was something I did not expect. I was thrown back for a moment before interjecting. Do we have to do this tonight? It's Sean's big night." Kimura heard the ruckus and made her way over to our table as well. She sat down and said, "Hey, everybody," with that big dimpled smile. I smiled and replied, "Hey." Kidada also seemed happy to see her and said, "Hey, what up, Kimmy?" Kimura, never the type to hold her tongue, went straight at it. "The whole place is buzzing with the fact you're sitting here accusing Sean of having Pac shot. Y'all kinda, loud." She laughed. Kidada seemed embarrassed as she looked around to see everybody staring and whispering, but she wasn't about to back off. In fact, she doubled down. "Anybody here not talking about it ain't real anyway. We all know Sean was behind it." Kimura forced a smile. "Honey, we don't have to do this here." Kidada made clear she was not to be silenced as she continued. "Oh, let's not hurt the feelings of Sean Puffy Combs. He only had one of the most prolific rappers in the game shot." Sean clenched his hands into fists. If this was anyone else, this would have turned ugly. But this was Quincy Jones' daughter. Sean was a monster in the streets, well feared by men that knew. But he did not want any of the smoke Quincy Jones could bring. Kidada continued with the impunity. Sean could not touch her. Christopher and Mary, both wanting to defend the super producer that made them famous, both started to stand and make their way over to the table, but Sean signaled them off with a firm motion of his hand. They remained in their seats, watching helplessly. Kidada seemed to be on a full rampage. "You're not safe in the streets, Sean. You think you're untouchable?" Kimura seemed almost red in the face when she grabbed Kidada by the hand, saying, "I gotta go to the restroom." Kidada, not willing to stop, snatched her hand away, saying, "Let go of me." Kimura needed to get a grip, and sternly as a parent speaking to a child mid-tantrum, "Da!" Kidada turned to her and yelled, "What?" Kimura nodded toward the crowded room, and Kidada looked around. Here she deflated slightly. Kimura, now in control, spoke firm but softly, "Let's go powder our nose." Kidada nodded with a grimace and gave a sharp look back at Sean as she walked away. As the tension slowly melted away, I asked Sean, "You okay?" Sean didn't reply at first. He looked around, saw that no one was really paying attention now that the ruckus had died down, and stood to get the pitcher of ginger ale from Kidada's table. He poured himself a drink from it, looked around again, and saw that no one was paying attention and put the pitcher under the table. What was he doing?
Ooh.
Then I heard the distinct sound of liquid being poured into liquid. Oh my God, is he peeing in the pitcher? He smiled at me as he brought the pitcher back from under the table and finally replied to me, "I'm good." He then stood and returned the pitcher to the table. I was in awe. I knew he had a bad temper, but this was disgusting. I'll never eat or drink something after we have an argument again. Kidada and Kimura made their way back to Kidada's table to sit as Sean watched on quietly. Sean made small talk. "What songs do you think they'll give me awards for?" As Kidada poured a drink, Sean's bodyguard made his way over to the table. I think he stopped her from drinking, as everyone else just sat and watched. Jean risked incurring Sean's wrath if I'm right. Relieved, I replied, "Babe, your catalog is crazy. It could be a lot of songs." Sean glared at Kidada's table the entire night. For anyone who didn't get to see that video. But
what wow, that is a trip.
Using this comment here just to piggyback off of a lot of people sort of have mentioned that this may not be Kim's book. Kim is dead. No shit, this is not Kim's book. These are allegedly Kim's words handed to the man who uses this pen name by a friend of hers. Unless they tell us it's false, unless they tell us it's true, this is all alleged and it is book. Argue among...
So this book is alleged. It's not her real words. I guess she told somebody all of this and they went on and finished her book, or because I knew she was writing a book. So I don't even know what's real. You know, AI, I thought that Justin Bieber song was real, but it was AI. So let's just say all this is alleged, y'all. This is a story, but I really thought this was Kim's book. I don't know.
You amongst yourselves in the comments, that's fine, but let's get into it. Chapter 9, Going Back to Cali. We had a wild night. It was after one of Sean's infamous parties. Everyone was there, and we not only had threesomes, but we also swapped partners. Our sex life was crazy, but I got to do things with Sean I would never have been able to do with a straight man. Sean cared about me, but it was becoming more and more obvious that he preferred men. I was beginning to think I was there more to cover his wild desires than because he really wanted to be with me. He was like Caesar, every woman's man and every man's woman. But truthfully, at that stage, I was becoming okay with it. I woke up and left the bedroom where I was with Jada Pinkett, and Sean happened to be coming out of the bedroom with Redacted and Will Smith. Yes, Redacted attended the parties from time to time. I could see him and Will kind of snuggled up on the bed together. Oh, I was grateful I wasn't asked to join in that room. I didn't really like Redacted. Sean smiled when he saw me. "Good morning." Here at the orgies, he wasn't very affectionate. He didn't have to pretend, but he couldn't walk straight. I knew how his ass felt, literally. We've had sessions playing with each other's anal cavities. I wanted to go home before Quincy woke up, so I told him, "I'm getting ready to go." He responded, "Let's have a cup of coffee first." This meant he wanted to talk. I didn't know what it was about, but in situations like this, I didn't really have a choice. He was becoming more violent when he didn't get what he wanted, and I didn't really want to fight. So I sat down. But before we started talking, Redacted came out of the room. Sean was wearing boxers. Redacted was in his birthday suit. Redacted addressed us. "Morning." When he turned around in order to close the door, there was a dried cum stain on his back.
Ew.
Redacted walked over, pulled out a chair to sit down next to us, and lit up a blunt. Sean stretched, smiled, and said, "This East Coast, West Coast beef is more lucrative than I thought. But it's getting dangerous." Redacted responded, surprised. "Business first thing in the morning? Damn, cuz, you on it. But you know you don't got nothing to worry about. You got a pass, daddy." Redacted smiled coyly. Sean apparently had something to talk about with Redacted as well, because he said, I can't protect everybody, especially if someone is no longer going to be on my label. It was apparent Redacted was taken aback by his turn of events, by his reply. Sean, are you saying what I think you're saying? Sean continued, it's taxing on my resources to protect people. Someone that isn't 100% on my team can't get 100% of my protection. What the hell is going on here? What did Sean want from me? This morning is turning out to be way more than I expected, and I have to go. Quincy will be looking for me. Meanwhile, Redacted apparently wanted clarity. So, to be clear, if something happened, Redacted made quotation marks with his fingers, to one of your artists that was leaving your label anyway, it would be considered, he makes another set of quotation marks, out of your control.
Are they talking about Biggie?
Is that what you're saying? Wait a minute. Can they be talking about Biggie? Is Sean saying he won't protect Biggie? At this point, I was...
See, I heard Biggie Smalls was wanting to leave the Bad Boy label, and that's how, after that, he got, unalived.
Too young, too naive, too hungover to understand that this was not a lack of protection. This was a hit. Where did this come from this morning? But an older, wiser me understands now what I did not comprehend all those years ago. Sean was just getting to the real reason that he had Redacted there. The world was about to lose Biggie. Redacted laughed. You a cold motherfucker. Sean said, why the fuck should I protect someone that isn't going to stick around? I made him. That Redacted should be worshipping the ground I fucking walk on. I was thinking, Sean's ego is rearing its ugly head. And I wanted to get out of there, but instincts told me I need to tread carefully. So my next move had to be calculated. I don't really want any part of this, not even implicitly, but I was dragged right into the middle of it. If what was happening here ever comes out, will I be held as an accomplice? But even as those thoughts crossed my mind, I couldn't just pretend this was okay, so I said, but Sean, he hasn't left yet. Just rumors. Are you gonna let him die because of some rumors? Sean glared at me, the anger in his voice obviously stemming from hurt as he said, I know when I'm being betrayed. I am not killing anyone, but I am not protecting somebody that doesn't have my back 150%. Fuck that. This was railing out of control. My mind began to race. Is there a way to get through to him? Maybe I could use the finance route. Sean, he's bringing in so much money. You put so much money into cultivating him. Are you going to throw away all that money? That's when he revealed how thought out this meeting really was. If he leaves, he takes all of the money I invested into creating him. Sean sighs. But if he can't protect himself and something terrible does happen, then the money I would make off his death would blow away all the money we made so far.
Life after death.
I was perplexed. Sean, he continued, he's worth more to me dead than alive. Sean Combs is a calculated monster.
Wow.
Redacted chimes in. I get that, fam. A lot of people out there want Biggie dead too. Without your protection, he doesn't stand a chance in Cali. Biggie is going to die. This is crazy. I dare not say anything else about it. Sean smiles and stands to walk over to a safe behind a picture. There he pulls out a bag marked with Redacted's name. He turns to Redacted and says, that's why you're worth your weight in gold. You understand me. Here's a little something for you to take care of my people. Redacted smiles. Sean, I love you, baby. You know I got your back. Your problems are my problems. I'll make sure to have my people take care of your people. I need to get out of here. This is crazy. I attempted to leave again. Sean, I want to get to Quincy before he wakes up. Sean looked at me responding, it's getting late. Give him a kiss from me. I'm going to get out of here. Thank God. Redacted, always with something to say. I'd love to meet the little tyke sometime. Not a chance in hell. Something about this guy creeps me out. I forced a smile. That would be great. I made my exit. Using this comment here just to piggyback off of.
Oh, child. And then he made that double album, Life After Death. So when she puts more, I'll make another video. But this is nuts. Y'all have a good one. I love y'all.